The probe into alleged collusion during last year's election between members of President Donald Trump's campaign and Moscow appears to have entered a new phase, as the Wall Street Journal newspaper reported that special counsel Robert Mueller has convened a grand jury as part of the investigation. According to the newspaper, citing two unnamed sources familiar with the matter, the jury had already begun working in recent weeks. Read more. Trump-Putin relations. What's the next move? Shortly after first reports of the grand jury emerged, the Reuters news agency reported that subpoenas had been issued in connection to a meeting between Trump's son, Donald Trump Jr., and a Russian lawyer in June 2016. The White House did not respond directly to the revelations, although John Dowd, a lawyer of Trump's, said there was no reason to believe that the president himself was under federal investigation. Trump's special counsel, Ty Cobb, said he had no knowledge that a grand jury had been impaneled, but said the White House favors anything that accelerates the conclusion of his work fairly. The significance of a grand jury. Mueller's use of a grand jury could give the special counsel extra powers to pursue evidence and issue subpoenas pertinent to the case. He could also compel witnesses to testify under oath. The jury, made up of ordinary citizens and working behind closed doors, will consider the investigators' evidence and decide whether it amounts to criminal wrongdoing and, thus, whether charges should be brought. Read more. What you need to know about the 5 inquiries looking into Donald Trump, James Comey in Russia. The formation of a grand jury could indicate that Mueller's investigation may be considering issuing criminal charges against one or more members of Trump's campaign team. June 18, 2013. Donald Trump tweeted the Miss Universe pageant will be broadcast live from Moscow, Russia on November 9. A big deal that will bring our countries together. He later added, do you think Putin will be going? If so, will he become my new best friend? October 17, 2013. Trump tells chat show host David Letterman he has conducted a lot of business with the Russians. An FBI agent told a tech support contractor at the Democratic National Committee it may have been hacked. On May 18, 2016, James Clapper, the Director of National Intelligence, said there were some indications of cyber-attacks aimed at the presidential campaigns. On June 14, 2016, the DNC announced it had been a victim of an attack by Russian hackers. Senator Jeff Sessions, an early Trump endorser who led his National Security Advisory Committee, met Russian Ambassador Sergei Kisljak and a group of other ambassadors at a Republican National Convention event. Julian Assange's WikiLeaks published 20,000 emails stolen from the DNC, appearing to show a preference for Hillary Clinton over Senator Bernie Sanders. The FBI announced it was investigating the DNC hack, saying a compromise of this nature is something we take very seriously. Donald Trump is elected President of the United States. On November 9, the Russian parliament burst into applause at the news. Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Rybakow said there were contacts between the Russian government and the Trump campaign during the election campaign. The Trump campaign issued a firm denial. Trump named General Michael Flynn as his national security advisor. The former Defense Intelligence Agency chief was a top foreign policy advisor in Trump's campaign. Flynn resigned in February after failing to disclose full details of his communication with Russian Ambassador Sergei Kislyak. Acting Attorney General Sally Yates told White House counsel Don McGahn that Flynn made false statements regarding his calls with Kislyak. On January 30, Trump fired Yates for refusing to enforce his travel ban, which was later blocked by federal courts. Trump said he had total confidence in Attorney General Jeff Sessions. Sessions announced he would recuse himself from any investigation into ties between Russia and the Trump campaign. FBI Director James Comey confirmed before the House Select Committee on Intelligence that the FBI was investigating possible links between Russia and the Trump campaign. In a letter announcing the termination, Trump wrote, "While I greatly appreciate you informing me, on 3 separate occasions, that I am not under investigation, I nevertheless concur with the judgment of the Department of Justice that you are not able to effectively lead the Bureau." Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein appointed former FBI Director Robert Mueller to look into Russia's interference in the 2016 election and possible collusion with the Trump campaign. Author Joe Harper. Senators protect Mueller from Trump retaliation. Amid fears that the president could retaliate and dismiss Mueller from the investigation, U.S. senators on Thursday introduced 2 bipartisan bills seeking to protect Mueller's position. Trump fired former FBI Director James Comey in May. Both Democratic and Republican senators said the bill should send a clear message that they will not tolerate any efforts from the White House to derail Mueller's investigation into Russia's election meddling. This is something that lives long beyond this situation involving Mueller, Tom Tillis, Republican senator for North Carolina, told reporters. And I think it's also something that begins to re-establish the reputation for independence in the Department of Justice. Tillis was among the many got lawmakers who jumped to the defense of Attorney General Jeff Sessions, after Trump rebuked and threatened to fire the former Alabama senator for recusing himself from the Russia investigation. Trump deflects attention at a rally in Huntington, West Virginia. Later on Thursday, Trump did not comment on Mueller's grand jury directly, but blasted U.S. Democrats for fueling the narrative around the Russia investigation. He described the allegations as a total fabrication and just an excuse for the greatest loss in the history of American politics. In comments reminiscent of last year's presidential election campaign, the president also called on prosecutors to instead investigate Hillary Clinton for her paid Russia speeches. The remarks prompted chants equally reminiscent of the campaign of "Lock her up." DMGSW, Reuters, AP, AFP, DPA.